Chairman, fellow commissioners, I just come before you tonight with a request for some consideration. I know you all have talked about the qualified school construction bond funding for the Piney Creek septic system that's underway now, that we are all very familiar with. When we were meeting with our facilities committee some time ago, looking at that project, we also identified a couple of other projects that were pretty serious safety concerns. And as I was talking with Dom, I asked him whether or not we should include a request for the commissioners to consider including either of those other projects with this qualified school construction bond funding, so that if the county were going to take on those projects, we could do them in the most economical fashion possible with this zero interest funding. So one of the projects where the lights on the football field and the baseball field are not really eligible for funding under this QSCB, so I'm not going to get into any discussion really about the lights. But what would be eligible, if you all would recall, we talked some about the brick on the high school, the kind of the core, oldest part of the high school. If you've been by up there, you know we've got a pretty significant problem with the facing of that white brick popping off. And of course, the weather this winter has been fairly mild, but as it freezes and thaws, it is more and more popping off. So we have some places where as thick as 1/4 of an inch of a whole face of a brick has come off in a whole one big piece, and we're concerned about obviously the safety of that. Part of it is where the students walk and visitors coming into the high school. So we have gotten some estimates on what that would cost, and I'm just here tonight to present that to you and ask if the commissioners would be interested in considering seeking funding for this project through the Qualified School Construction Bond Program. So our two of your commissioners here serve on the Facilities Committee, and Mr. Adams as well. So I'll defer over to you guys for further comment, and we'll answer questions as you have them.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, just a reminder to everybody, the Qualified School Construction Bonds are basically, it's a program that allows us to be eligible to borrow money. So it's not free money, it's not grant money, but to borrow money at zero interest. This is something that this board had discussed at the previous meeting in regards to the Piney Creek septic system. Currently, I am seeking grants for the septic system. Hopefully, I'm able to get a portion, if not a good portion of that paid for with grants, but at the end of the day, if you can't pay for it with grants or other funding sources, then the zero interest is about as best as you can get. So when Dr. Cox had mentioned this to me, the one comment that I had, there's still multiple ways you could try to fund this particular issue, whether it be negotiating with the Board of Education, looking at other existing funding. But for today, what's being presented to this board is whether or not this project should be applied for so that we can be eligible to receive zero interest loans. This is not approving the loan. This is not approving how you would fund the loan, but the deadline for the eligibility of the application is come Friday. So I'll end it here. If this board has any inkling that it may fund it or may work with the Board of Education for the Board of Education to figure out how to fund this issue with their funding, if there's any inkling that we are going to do this project, then I would highly recommend that you apply for these zero interest loans, because otherwise they won't be available, and if you choose to try to fund it at a later date, you'll be doing it without zero interest monies. So that's all, Mr.
At our facilities meeting, Dr. Cox, I understood that the first process, or the first step in the process might be just becoming eligible to apply. Is that not correct?
Right.
Apply for eligibility for funds that are being now held by the State Department of Public Instruction.
exactly. These are actually some leftover funds. There's I understand about $12 billion of this QSCB funding that was left over from the last cycle. Different projects across the state that didn't get completed for various reasons. They had $12 billion. So that's what's available across the state. You know, even if we do apply for it, there's no guarantee we're going to get all that we ask for eligibility to be able to use. But yes, this is just a step to seek permission to be eligible to get that funding. We'd still have to come back and agree on, for sure, are we going to proceed forward with it, and how would we work together to pay the loan.
And historically, there have been some project that the county has embarked upon, for instance, the Glade Creek system. But then when the overrun occurred, the county, we okayed you to apply, but the county, the school system actually took on its shoulders the $400,000 secondary loan.
That's true. We're making an annual payment of about $29,000 a year or so to pay that extra $400,000 back.
So I'd hope that we could look in those directions too, if we,
Do you have any numbers?
Well,
on the phase?
We do. I've gotten an estimate. The contractor, general contractor, who is doing the Glade Creek project, Hickory Construction, they were willing to kind of come over and give us an estimate on this project as well. I'm hopeful again that with a competitive bid process, we can come back and maybe even get a lower bid than this. But the total number at this point would be $243,596.38. That includes the architect's fee, as well as what we talked about in the facilities committee meeting last week. Again, that essentially what that would be doing is coming back in everywhere there's brick and putting in the structure in place to secure metal siding, similar to what we have on the Piney Creek gym. If you've been out by there, it's that textured metal. I feel like that would be a good fix for the next 25 years on that building.
And this is the original structure, is that correct? 1967?
Yeah, I guess it opened, high school opened in 67, 68, was the first year. This is the very center of the building that was there from the beginning. It's that white brick that some of the guys who were around back then says we should never build with that white brick anyway, that it retains moisture more than standard brick, I guess. But this many years later, they're turned out to be right on that, I guess.
I know about this time last year, we sat down with the facilities committee, and that was one of the three projects, basically safety projects, really, the brick and the lights at the fields, and it's continued now for another year that we've known about this problem. But the bricks, is that coming off all the way around the core building, on the inside of the courtyard?
Inside, yeah, there's a courtyard inside.
Most of what we saw was in front.
It is. Yeah, the most visible parts is as you pull up to the school, but all the way around the building to varying degrees, we're having that issue on that exterior and even on the inside courtyard area. It's still, that same thing is still occurring. The places that face the brunt of the weather are the ones that are being hit the worst, it seems, but it's happening really all the way around the core of that building.
Dr. Cox, when the commissioners visited the school, we went through and looked at a lot of things. Have the other items been addressed, or will they be a future need?
Well, some of the items have been addressed that we've looked at. I know we looked on the inside at some of the science classrooms. We're going to be with the Golden Leaf Foundation. That's going to be one of our kind of a cornerstone of what we're looking to do with some of the Golden Leaf funding, should we be lucky enough to get that.